Good morning, boys and girls, and welcome to a whole new module, and for me, a whole new laser pointer. Check out that nice glowing green laser. We are moving topics today to equivalent fractions, and don't let that scare you. We're actually going to have a lot of hands-on activity today. I'm pretty excited about it. Before we start, make sure you have Module 3, Lesson 1 at the top left corner of the top half of your page. Make sure you have today's date and the words equivalent fractions written on the top right. Again, we're going to be talking about key points being equivalent fractions here today. And our learning target is I am able to make equivalent fractions with a number line, an area model, and numbers. So we're going to use 3 different ways to show how fractions are equivalent with other fractions, how some fractions are equivalent with other fractions. It won't be too bad. And remember, we're not going to reflect right now, but eventually we're going to look at being a 1, a 2, a 3, or a 4. Some of you may be coming in thinking, oh, I know nothing about fractions. I'm so bad at them. I'm a 1. Hopefully after today, we're going to do enough stuff. You guys are really going to see how, for example, like 1/2 is the same as 2/4. And hopefully if you were 1, maybe you'll move towards a 2. And if you were a 2, hopefully maybe you'll be a 3 or even a 4. We'll see how it goes. But let's go ahead and move on. Pay close attention and make sure you're using the materials I give you correctly. Alright guys, let's get started right away. You should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 strips. We're only going to use 4. I gave you an extra one just in case you happen to make a mistake. And you should have your notes open just like this. So again, we had Module 3, Lesson 1, Key Points and Details, Equivalent Fractions, and Date. And our learning target is I am able to make equivalent fractions with the number line, the area model, and numbers. So the very first thing what I want you to do is take your first paper piece right there, pick it up in your hands, just like this. And I want you to fold it in half, just like this, and crease it right there. Okay. Now, how many equal parts do we have in the whole right now? If you said 2, you'd be correct. And what we would call this half right here is, of course, 1/2, and this is another half, just right here like this. What I want you to do, and I'm going to move this to the side so I have a little workspace here. Make sure you don't mark on a table. Is what I want you to do is draw a line right in the middle, dividing it clearly into 2 halves. And I'm just going to go ahead and set this one that we don't need over here in case I make a mistake. Then, once you have this done, what I want you to do is go ahead and label it 1/2 and 1/2. Now we have this done. Okay, now this is where I'm going to have to stop. What I want you to do is take this part right here. I want you to do the same over here, except what I want you to do it for is with thirds, fourths, and fifths. So take these and turn them into thirds, fourths, and fifths. And I'll check back with you in just a moment. Alright guys, so after you do this, and you may mess up a few times, especially if you're not a particularly artsy or crafty type person, you should have 4 paper strips that look just like this. It's not important that they're beautiful, it is important that they're accurately divided. And you can see these line up very accurately. Right here at 1/2, the middle line is almost exactly right here. 1/3, these are almost exactly equal portions. Same thing up here with fifths. The fifths one might be the most difficult for you to divide, but I can help you with that if need be. Okay, so we've got them. Now what I want you to do is flip back. Here is your notes page. Let's flip over to this side. What I want you to do is write a 1, just like this, because this will be the first problem that we solve. What I want you to do is take your half right here, just like this, and lay it on your paper. So it should be about like that. I'll move this just to the side a little bit right here. What I want you to do is draw a number line. So we're going to start with 0 right here. We'll do 1 dot right here, or 1 kind of slash right here, and that's going to be 0. And over here at the other edge of the paper is going to be 1. Your Strips are about 6 inches across. They may be a little bit more, a little bit less, depending. So, I will also do a little slash right here. So now what we're going to do, I'm going to take my ruler right here, and I'm going to draw a number line, which is just starting from this dash right through here. And we're going to go ahead and label this 0, 1/2, and 1. Just like this. So we made a very, very nice number line. Now what I want you to do is draw a square that's about an inch, so about 2 lines, something like that, about 2 lines. Square right about like this, and about the same amount across, like this, and about the same amount up, and you got the point. And I want you to partition it vertically. Now what partition means is to part it, to cut it apart. Vertically is up and down. So all that means to partition vertically is to just draw a line just like that. And I want you to kind of lightly shade that left half. What we're doing here is showing one way to represent 1/2. Okay? What I want you to do is a little bit to the right of that, just a little bit more. Do another box, almost exactly the same size. So we'll kind of draw just like this. And again, what I want you to do is to partition it vertically. Oh, and sorry, one other thing we should do underneath this is we're going to go ahead and write 1/2. Partition this one vertically as well. And then I want you to partition it horizontally. Can you guess what that means? That would be right. You're going to partition it just like this, straight across. So now, let's see, how many pieces do we have? We have 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces. Interesting. And I want you to shade in just the same amount as before. Now this looks exactly the same as this one. It's just got this extra piece cut out of it. And I want you to say what we did here. So we had 1/2 originally. 1/2 is what this is. But you know what we did? We added another piece. So what we did was we multiplied it by 2. Okay? So I'm going to put times 2. Times 2. And guess what? 1 times 2 equals 2. And we have 2 times 2 equals 4. Just like that. Let's try doing another one over here to the side. Let's see. And remember, these are equivalent fractions. These equal right here. Okay? So we are showing it. We're meeting our learning target right now because this is our number line. This is our area model. And these are our numbers. Let's do another one. Make another square about an inch down, about an inch across. Partition it vertically. And then we're going to make 2 horizontal partitions. We're going to make thirds, or actually we're going to make sixths. Like this. And right here. And again, kind of lightly shade that left side. Now, we have, again, this is still 1/2. Right? 1/2, 1/2, 1/2. But over here we've added another bit. We've added 3 more pieces because we cut it into more chunks, right? We add thirds. So what we're going to do, we're going to multiply this by 3 on top and 3 on the bottom. And guess what? Before we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pieces and 3 of them were shaded in. So what's going to happen here is 1/2 times 3/3 is 3/6. And again, we have another equivalent fraction. All these are equivalent. And we're going to make one more, believe it or not. Let's do one more square, just like this. Here we are. We're going to partition it vertically. And then we're going to partition it right across the center again. And then guess what? We're going to partition it one more time. We're going to cut each of these chunks in half right here. So we're going to go ahead and do this and this. And we'll just lightly shade this in. Again, this looks exactly the same as 1/2, except it's cut into 8 pieces. We had 1/2 and then we made 4 extra chunks out of those 2 halves. So what we do here is times 4 over 4, and we get 1, 2, 3, 4 out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. or 1 times 4 and 2 times 4. So here we have 4 equivalent fractions. Not too bad. And here's our number line, 0 to 1/2 to 1 whole. 1/2, 2/4, 3/6, and 4/8 are all different ways that you can show 1 whole or 1/2. All right, boys and girls, so at this point what we're going to do, the video is paused and we are going to take some notes real quick, and then that will conclude part 1 of this lesson, but we are not done yet. So let's flip back to our notes. So what we had before was equivalent fractions, and what we're going to write here is going to be fractions which have the value of others, or excuse me, fractions which have the same value as other fractions. There you have it. And we're going to add one other word under key points, and that word is partition. That's a fancier word that we learned today, if you didn't know it. And if you'll recall, when we were making our area models, we partitioned them into different sections. So partition is another way to say to section off or to cut apart. And there you have it. This concludes part 1 of lesson 1. Part 2 will follow shortly here. It's more of the same, but it gets a little bit trickier because we'll be talking about thirds.